While I was in class last semester, I was given the assignment to have 6 meetings with an elderly patient for a class on geriatrics. We had to ask the gentleman about his experiences while physically, mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually deteriorating throughout the aging process. He was very accepting of his decline in mental and physical activity, although he did admit life had become much harder on him. When asked what the hardest part of aging is, he responded that it is hard to outlive your mind, physical health, and money. He kept talking about how expensive assisting living can be for someone. In the media, we are constantly told how many people retire and then realize they do not have enough money to finance their living. The poverty in the elderly has drastically increased. In today's society, we see our parents, grandparents, and other loved ones having to work past the age of retirement because of a lack of money for retirement. Published in 2016 in What is the Social Security Retirement Age from the National Academy of Social Insurance, they did a case study over the legislation being passed in order to legally increase the age of retirement. For example, there is a financial bonus for delayed retirement. An individual reaching the full benefit age in 2015, which would be 66 years old, receives an additional 8% benefit for each year he or she collects benefits. If he or she delays taking benefits until age 70, the benefit will be 32% higher because of that delay. The maximum retirement benefit for someone who waits until age 70 to collect benefits is over $3,500 a, um, a month a month in 2015. This staggering law indicates our society and changing culture shift. This shows how the government is trying to keep many elderly Americans employed in exchange for more financial benefits. This also shows that there is a need for more money in the elderly community for retirement. Billions of dollars are being taken away from the elderly because of fraud and various schemes that target those with lower mental understanding to discern the difference between a valid business opportunity and a fraud. I have realized through my interactions with the elderly community that money is a big problem. While attending Mass last week, a 75-year-old woman asked for us to pray for one of her friends that was having a huge difficulty selling their house because of being in debt. My grandparents lost a great deal of money by being schemed into investing thousands of dollars into a company that was illegitimate. Upon further research, I realized that this was no exception, my family was no exception to the elderly community. According to the Government Accountability Office, an astounding $2.9 billion is being drained out of the elderly through financial exploitation annually. Fox Business went on to elaborate that it is very rare for these victims to ever recover any of the money taken away from them. Many elderly individuals have been victims often of these cruel ruses to steal money from unsuspecting elderly people. According to another 2016 published journal, Why Older Americans Are Financially Vulnerable, an article from the U.S. News and World Report, financial abuse and exploitation of the elderly is commonplace, even more so with telephone fraud and various schemes on websites and various other new modes of social media. In addition, the average age for retirement has steadily increased. Legislation in the United States is slowly changing in order to increase the legal age of retirement. According to a journal published in 2014, Financial Security of Elderly Americans at Risk proposed changes to Social Security and Medicare could make a majority of seniors economically vulnerable. An article in the Economic Policy Institute, the supplemental poverty measure, indicates that the poverty seen in the aging has dramatically increased within the past few years alone. According to Poverty Among Seniors in 2013, published in 2013, half of all people in Medicare had incomes less than $23,500, which is equivalent to 200% of poverty in 2015. In addition, I will also be addressing the problems with living in nursing homes. Nursing homes are only meant for short-term living in the United States for the most part. However, according to Nursing Home Issues published in 2008, with a longer life expectancy and just the need for convenience in today's society, many elderly people are being put into nursing homes for longer periods of time. This social change has allowed many older individuals to be put into nursing homes without having any way to pay for these expenses. Many caregivers are strained to pay the money if the elderly person is already in debt. The assisted living facilities also make quite a profit from these expenses. Unfortunately, not much has been done to alleviate the many financial problems on the elderly. For the most part, we easily leave the issue alone because it does not affect us. However, as we age, we will hope that someone takes a decided interest in humanitarian effort to help solve these problems. There are multiple different pathways that need to be taken in order to rid our country of these problems. Interestingly, the financial problems that the elderly are facing are what causes these health problems. Stress levels and depression are increased greatly from financial woes. Job security is also unpredictable, especially to those who are aging, which can also induce high levels of stress. Conversely, the health problems can cause financial trouble when footing the hefty healthcare costs. I think that this needs to be addressed at a federal, state, and local government level, specifically the state level. There needs to be government spending specifically for assisted living facilities. Although it may not be able to completely finance the living expenses of elderly people, it should take a great deal of that stress off. Also, these programs should finance different amounts of money to people by need-based help. For instance, if the elderly individual can easily pay for his or her lifestyle, then they should only be given a small portion of the financial help. Filial support laws should also be used, and these government programs should take into account family members or caregivers and their willingness and ability to pay. In response to the 2006 published article Nursing Home Cost, Study, Cost Studies and Reimbursement Issues, variables of occupancy rates, as well as ownership and provider type that decide the cost of nursing homes needs to be addressed. If there are more occupants in a nursing home, then this will allow costs to decrease, which makes sense. I think that the best solution is to directly use tax dollars for building more rooms within these facilities. This will allow more privacy for individuals as well as the cost of living to decrease to something more affordable. Provider type should not be a factor for payment to a facility. There should be a specific amount of money that each facility receives from the state government, and the state government should determine a similar price for every facility. I think that there can be options of different qualities of rooms available with different set prices, but ultimately each facility must have a reasonable price for their average option. In response to the debt of the elderly and near elderly, published in 2014 by Craig Copeland, it seems that there is a startling problem with an increase in poverty for those 55 years of age and older. There is no easy fix for this problem, but there are many ways to help the situation. It is important for the government to create incentives to avoid this increasingly occurring problem. One way is to change the financial benefit age for those who wait to use their pension. There should be a longer term plan for aging adults to wait until they can start dipping into their private pensions. If adults were told at a much younger age that saving money for their retirement without taking any money out would yield thousands and thousands of more dollars, then they would have a lot better financial outlook on retirement. Gary Fields' Economic Determinants of the Optimal Retirement Age and Sickles, an analysis of the health and retirement status of the elderly, articles published in 2011 and 2008 respectively, both address the variables of not only income but also spending and saving as well. A depleted pension can cause lots of health problems. In order to avoid health issues by being more energetic and active, an earlier retirement on one's own terms is ideal. The biggest way to create a happy retirement is to plan early, especially with the help of the aforementioned government incentive. Finally, in Neil Krause's published article in 2015, Financial Strain and Psychological Well-Being Among the American and Japanese Elderly, Krause displays the problem of depression from stress in the elderly. The best way to get rid of the depression onset by stress of finances is to attack the source. First, from a young age, each individual should create a retirement plan. The government should force each bank to talk to their new client about a retirement plan. While the bank while the new client is still new and young to the financial aspects of life, the bank should request mandatory follow-up visits to continue the discussion of their retirement plans for the first about 2 to 3 years. After this time, the client will then only have to meet once a year with a banker to help with their retirement plan. Failure to meet with a banker about one's retirement plan will cause the bank to close the client's account temporarily until they have the retirement plan meeting. Next, I think that there should also be counseling available to aging individuals. At the age of 55, I think 10 sessions of counseling should be offered annually to all individuals under their Social Security benefits. This will help them realize their end goals and savings plan for retirement, which allows them to have a positive outlet for their concerns and fears and reduce their high risk of depression. I believe that this will help many elderly individuals gain financial security, and in the process, it will reduce their health risks associated with this. While reflecting on the patient I was fortunate enough to interview, I still remember his worries. I will never forget him telling me he had no fears in life other than outliving his mind, body, and money. It seems very surface level and shallow to be worrying about money at such an advanced age. However, this has health implications and quality of living can be impacted greatly. By petitioning and voting for better funding and spending for the elderly, these issues can slowly dissipate from our country's elderly community. Thank you.